Hi guys, this is Rod just beginning our course on church administration, and for the next 7 or 8 minutes I want to highlight and review some particular points made by Charles Tidwell in his book on church administration, effective leadership for ministry. And in this section we're covering the introduction and first two chapters for this week. So if you can try to read those, as we're going to try to cover Tidwell over these next 4 weeks in anticipation of our going through this study of church administration. So Tidwell taught at Southwestern Seminary, if I remember correctly, right, and wrote this work in the mid-80s. But what he's presenting again is the thesis understanding that administration is administering people together to carry out the work of Jesus Christ as he defined it for what the local church is to be and what the local church is to do. So this is going to be a very profitable read because of that aim that this book is addressing and helping give you understanding as a church leader and as a pastor what that involves to be an effective worker. One of the kind of humorous but challenging things he makes the comment on is that Henry Ford said it must have been a divine work of God for the church to be in existence, given that it has so been poorly led and managed so often and far too much as to ministers and church leaders in their practices. So the challenges before us as far as need of good leadership. He says this on page 14 in the introduction, at least the edition I'm working out of. There is a tendency to think you are spending more time than you actually are on administrative things. If the activity is disliked, it is frustrating, or is one in which you have limited skill or knowledge. Basically what he's saying here is that church administration can be very painful if we don't understand what it's for and how to do it. Then he makes this comment: once these leaders move up to developing people rather than just doing things in their administrative ministries, that's when excitement begins to take hold of our hearts, and that's when fruit and effectiveness begins to reveal itself in our leadership and our administrative working. He gives this then also about administration: a thorough working knowledge of good church administration, accomplished by the attitudes and skills to make possible the use of this knowledge, may be the best, most hopeful option for the minister. Such knowledge, attitudes, and skills enable the leader to multiply personal energies through others and rise above the avalanche of responsibilities. That's in a nutshell what the potential of understanding good leadership administration and how to do it can accomplish for you as far as your personal satisfaction as a pastor, minister, church leader in serving Christ. So the worthiness of this study. I wanted to go on where he says the purpose of this book. The purpose of the author, that this book will be an orderly, comprehensive, unified presentation of the functional areas of the field of church administration and an introduction to basic skills of the leaders who work in this field, so that the church may fulfill its divine mission in the world most effectively. What I appreciate about Tidwell is making clear that our purpose as a church, as he defines and identifies it, is to spread the good news of Jesus Christ and help more people fall in love with Jesus, worship him, serve him, grow in him, and more like him, and reproducing that in others with their lives, so we can be at rest as far as where our author is taking us and what the end result is. He talks about the Holy Spirit's primacy in all that we do. I appreciate him identifying the third member of the Trinity and his indispensable required help if we are ever to accomplish developing people and administering them together so that the ministry of Jesus Christ through the local church can grow and become more powerful and more effective, qualitatively and quantitatively. So that's what good administration is about. Okay, quickly, in 2 to 3 minutes, just chapters 1 and 2. He introduces in chapter 1 about Ephesians 11 and the fact that, like Howard Hendricks said, every Christian has been given a grace gift. There are certain ones that have been given serving gifts. That's pastors, church leaders, and the other offices mentioned there in Ephesians 4. Church administration, he says, is the leadership which equips the church to be the church and to do the work of the church. Can I say that again? This is page 21 in chapter 1 out of my text. Church administration is the leadership which equips the church to be the church and to do the work of the church. That's what we're getting into, and that's what good administration is about. Again, equipping people is hard work. That's why it takes me staying close to the cross if we're ever going to carry this out, because we must have the spirit and wisdom of Jesus Christ in our hearts and on our lives as we invest in others, if we're going to help them become more like Him and follow Him and serve Him with their lives. And then in doing church administration, helping them find their right place in the church to serve and utilize their gifts that have been sovereignly given them by Jesus Christ. Well, he then gets into the fact of Moses' example and what his father-in-law told him. He says leaders should lead all who will follow to share in the work of the church. This is the way to enable the members of the body to grow and develop, and at the same time to advance the cause of Christ. He makes an interesting comment the page prior, that seminary studies show the greatest need in churches is for ministers who will have the ability to effectively relate with people. That's attitudes, people skills, all of that. And he's just highlighting that is a crucial, constantly surfacing need in seminary case studies about our roles and our experiences as pastors and church leaders. Our greatest need is to be able to effectively relate to people. So again, attitudes and wisdom and insight will be gotten into. He has some great comments from Bill Hull, who has written many things on leadership, and those will be very profitable in that chapter. The second chapter is about the purpose of the church. You can relate this directly to purpose-driven church, but he's just squaring clearly in chapter 2 what's our purpose as a church and what is your leadership and administrative efforts to accomplish in reflecting that. So that's chapter 2. This will be great reading, and you'll enjoy what he's going into as far as the study of the word church and what that means, and again what the purpose of the church is in chapter 2. So that's just covering the introduction, chapter 1 and chapter 2 of Tidwell. We'll pick up in the next 2 chapters next week. Thanks, guys. Any questions about things you're reading, please feel welcome to email me, and I'll respond accordingly. But I'll keep these coming each week. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll get through Tidwell. So if you can just be reading about 75 pages a week in Tidwell, that'll knock it out for you. Thanks, men. Bye.